This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics. This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive 29 other MLB clubs.
A judgy blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right, away back into the second deck.
Bobby Witt Jr. becomes the first shortstop in Major League history to have two 30-30 seasons.
Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to walk-off dingers to Hall of Fame talk. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of A's Cast Live. It's our second show of the spring, right before A's take on the San Francisco Giants. We want to welcome everybody who's watching us on YouTube. Everybody's watching us on
X.
When do we fully just go X?
We could call it X now. I think that's okay. I mean, that's what we're almost a year into the name change and the ownership change. I think we can call it X now.
Really? Because everybody still references that Twitter, and you still tweet.
Yeah, well, actually, they call it posting now on Twitter. Posting.
No, everybody still says tweet.
The
world has not changed.
No, even when you look at when
you watch the news, they'll talk about this tweet. No one. That's what they say.
Yeah, even when you watch MLB Network or ESPN, they'll say
it'll
say X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah,
they always put formerly known as Twitter.
We're on there, and you're watching, and we want to say thank you. Of course, our new station in Sacramento that we absolutely love, our new partnership with Talk 650 KSTE. So if you're hearing us for the first time in Northern California, wherever you're listening, and of course, A's Cast all over the world. If you don't know about A's Cast, we got people listening everywhere. Probably the one of the spots we love so much, all of our fans, our diehard fans that we have in Australia, that we got a bunch of A's fans down there. See, what happens is you have some ton of people who grew up in the Bay Area and they move away, but they still want A's baseball. So where do they come? They come here to A's Cast. Today, you're going to hear from Hogan Harris. We got to see him yesterday pitch in surprise against the Kansas City Royals. Darell Hernaiz played third base yesterday. You'll hear from him today. And JT Ginn, I think we'll get to JT, if not, maybe tomorrow. And then the Hall of Fame voice will warm him up for today's broadcast, the great Ginn Korach, who will be at home today as Bob Melvin and the San Francisco Giants Game 4 of Cactus League action, where the A's are 1-1-1, as we played to a 1-1 tie yesterday, which is crazy to think that in 2 games in Cactus League action, you've had a shutout and a 1-1 tie, when normally these games are essentially lighting up the scoreboard like a pinball machine. That they warned Justin Verlander, which was an interesting story, as Verlander made his debut yesterday for the Giants, that there were pitchers for the Giants who warned Verlander, hey, this isn't the Grapefruit League. Your stuff isn't going to move like it normally does, so don't freak out. Because he's trained his entire career, whether it was Detroit or it was Houston, or the Mets, he's done his entire career, right? He's been Mets, Astros, Tigers.
Yep.
He's trained can you turn me up just a little bit? He's trained his entire career in Florida. And as you realize, you get down into the dry, I guess you'd call it thin air of Arizona, and you're playing outside, breaking balls don't move the same way because the air doesn't grab the seams the way it does. And obviously there's a lot of humidity. Humidity we always look at with heat. And the reality is, as we learned from that great article in The Athletic, humidity doesn't really matter the temperature that's outside. It's about the moisture in the air. And I remember when we did that article a couple of years ago, The Athletic had the article about the places with the most, so places where you think about your breaking ball breaking the most, where there's the most moisture in the air, wasn't the hot and humid places. I mean, obviously South Florida was in there, but it was San Diego, it was San Francisco, it was Oakland. And you're like, wait a minute, these places are not hot, because San Diego now is near right on the water. So it's not like inland how it used to be Jack Murphy. So you're talking about at night, these games are at times chilly, but it's about the moisture in the air. So you learn to change things when you come to Arizona and pitch in spring training. So you'll hear from Hogan Harris, Darell Hernaiz, Ken Korach, and maybe we'll get to JT Ginn probably maybe today or maybe tomorrow. I want to start today's show off. I've now done it twice. I got to see it. And the ABS challenge system, now it has changed, right? There was different ways that people have done it, and however they did it, doesn't matter. This is what we're getting. And I have to tell you, it's an absolute hit. It is so much fun for the fans. And you really have to pay attention because it happens so fast. This isn't like the challenge system where the head coach in football, he throws the flag, ref's got to come over, turn his mic and say, the 49ers are challenging the fumble on the field. And then he's got to waddle over and he gets underneath and then he's got to come back and the play, stands on the field or it's a fumble, first down going that. That's a whole process that takes time. This ABS challenge system is so fast. If you're not paying attention, because yesterday Tyler Soderstrom was catching and he basically just did this real quick to his helmet. See, that's also an interesting part of this story is so many young players, and that's why it's brilliant by baseball, who doesn't get a lot of credit for things, and we need to give them credit, is by implementing this stuff in the minor leagues and doing it for the past couple of years. By the time it makes it to the big leagues, all of these kids are now coming up and playing in the big leagues. It's no big deal. It's like last year when I talked to Lawrence Butler and Tyler Soderstrom about maybe it was 2 years ago, when I talked to them about the pitch clock, that would be 2 years ago.
Yeah, because it started 2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, so when I talked to them, they're like, no biggie. And I was like, we're all freaking out about it. And they're like, oh, no, it's fine. Because they've been using it in the minor leagues. These kids trained with it. So now when they get here, they're used to it. And it's the same thing with this challenge system. Like Soderstrom caught the ball, didn't even look back to the umpire, just tapped it. Umpire turned around, looked up to, I don't even know who he's pointing to. Somebody, we got to figure this out. Like there's somebody up in the press box who's running this thing. And once the umpire turned around, pointed to it, we looked up and there it's running. They have two different graphics. And then here comes the ball. It shows the video. And the ball is either going to touch any part of the box, the strike zone, or it's not. And it's instant, ball or strike. And the crowd goes nuts. They go nuts. Folks, we love technology. There has been tons and tons and tons of research that we are highly, highly addicted to this thing. If you're listening, you can't see what I'm holding up. But what do I have in my hand, Cody?
Your cellular phone.
My cell phone. We as human beings are absolutely addicted to our phones. I remember reading some research in the restaurant business that they were doing about consumers and stuff like that. So I assume this applies to everybody. That even, and I think will hold true today, this was research done not that long ago, that even women are more addicted to their cell phones than their purses. They rather leave their purse at home than their cell phone. We are lost without it. So, which technology, it's just a part of our lives. And as much as baseball fought technology and putting it and implementing it in our game, we're now realizing how much we dig it and how much we like it. And just the aspect of seeing a spring training crowd of a couple thousand people get jacked up about this, I start to wonder, what will this look like? I mean, Pick a stadium. Let's say it's Yankee Stadium, right? Yankee Stadium, which rocks. And these, I mean, you got straight freak shows in this place. You got some of the angriest people on the planet.
Bleacher creatures.
Going to Yankee games. What's this going to be like in the 9th inning, Yankees, Red Sox, right? It's one of those monster long games. Will be like the last time we see it on ESPN because they're dumping baseball after this year, which is a great thing. We'll get into that maybe sometime later. But what will it be like? Like Dodger Stadium. I mean, think about Dodgers, playing the Giants today. What about Dodgers Giants, 9th inning? Verlander on the mound. I mean, something just crazy. And all of a sudden it's doop, doop, the whole crowd for 10 seconds and hanging on whether this is a ball or a strike. The drama that's going to bring, and it's not going to draw out like an NFL game, right? Or even in the NBA where they got to come and they got to go to the scorer's table. I mean, this is straight 10. It's less than 10 seconds. It's so fast. The drama that this is going to bring to our sport. I mean, after seeing it for just 3 days, it's like, how do we not implement this year? And we have kept you happy. If you're a traditionalist, we've kept you happy with here's your umpire. You like the human element. You like that umpires are still calling balls and strikes, whether they're good at it or not. Some are better than others, but we kept your human element. But now, every once in a while, we get to challenge that human element. We think you're wrong. Pitcher, catcher, batter. And then it's the strategy of you better not be wrong, especially in these critical situations. Because how many times have we now seen NFL head coaches questioned after games like, what were you thinking there? Why did you do that? Who was telling you to challenge? That was moronic. Think about a big game, into the game, and a batter steps out and goes, and he is completely wrong. And it ends up really affecting the game. You're going to have a crowd of media around you, and you're going to have to answer for that. That's a whole new element. So you're going to, right now it's cute. Right now it's fun. But when we start playing for real and you make a bonehead decision, I was up this morning watching MLB Network. Great to see our guy, Matt Vasgersian and Harold Reynolds doing their deal. And, it's all fun, but in a big game, you screw that up, that's going to be front headline news. And you're going to have to answer for that. The manager's going to have to answer for that. The players are going to have to answer for that. So when you use these challenges, will be fun to see. And I know not everybody is comfortable with it, so I don't go all in, but I do like to throw it in there. The future is gambling. And one of the reasons why I have been told, and actually I don't have to hide it as much anymore because Bob Nightingale brought it up on our show in Dallas at the winter meetings. One of the reasons why we were doing all this is because they believe someday, because of our phones, we're going to be sitting in these stadiums and we can gamble on it. We're going to be able to go, oh, I bet that's a strike. I bet that's a ball. That's why they're implementing the ABS. That's one of the reasons why they're implementing the ABS system. Bob Nightingale, it's not Chris Townsend from Ace Cast, right? This is Bob Nightingale, USA Today. It's coming. That was the thing, like when we were in Dallas, where we were told multiple times that gambling, they believe, is going to be approved in Texas. And that's why Mark Cuban, billionaire, very successful. I'll tell you a story about the time we had him on the air when I was on KMBR years ago, when he sold broadcast.com, because he started the first website that linked all the sports stations, right? And you could click on and listen to any station, and Yahoo bought it for whatever billions of dollars. That was the first big deal he ever did. But Mark Cuban sold the majority of the interest in the Dallas Mavericks to the Adelson family from Las Vegas. Now, I know they're in Vegas. I believe they're out of Vegas. Remember, Sheldon Adelson helped the Raiders get there at first. But the Adelson family has bought the big chunk of the Dallas Mavericks now, Mark Cuban still has control over player personnel. But the reason they want to do that is because it's believed that they're going to move the Mavericks out of Dallas. They're going to move them to Arlington, where the Rangers and the Cowboys are. They're going to build a big casino next to an arena. Hello, NBA and gambling. I mean, that's going to be the future. So the ABS system, a big hit with fans, and it's just another element of fun. Well, we'll see. Ken Korach has not changed in our game. We'll see how he feels about it. But I can just tell you, in the 2 games that I've called, one with Johnny and one with Chris, it was a lot of fun doing the game with Chris yesterday. Obviously, uber talent, Chris Carey. We have fun with it, right? And there was one point late in the game, happened late in the game. And I don't know if it was in the 8th. Chris Carey, if you're listening, was in the 8th or 9th inning, where the 8th and 9th inning of a spring training game really is snooze city, right? Everybody is especially in Surprise, Arizona.
And when it's a 1-1 game.
It's a 1-1 game. It's 3rd spring training game of the year. Where are we going to dinner? A lot of those people are I just want to go home. By the way, Cody, Surprise, Arizona is out there.
It was 45 minutes from the Omni where we were at, right?
Out there. Well, to them, it's not out there. Beautiful facility. It takes everybody has given it a bad rap, but the Rangers and the Royals share it. It's a beautiful facility. I was walking around checking out their batting cages and their fields and everything. I'm like, this is so to them, it's not out there, but I can imagine when every single game that they got to play away from home. Oh boy, we got to go to Scottsdale. Oh boy, we got to go here. Oh boy, we got to go to Mesa. It's a long trip for them, but they got a pretty slick, facility, but it is out there. But here you are late in the game. It's 1-1. You got a bunch of guys. I mean, I don't know who the Royals guys are. We're all those Royals fans because you got to think it's freezing cold in Kansas City. So all these people are out from Kansas City. They don't want to deal with the cold. They're hanging out in Arizona where it's absolutely beautiful. But they're all sitting there going, who are these A's players, right? But they threw that ABS. It was the 8th or 9th inning, and they were jacked. So that's what it just got me thinking, wow, what's this going to be like for us? In Sacramento, sold out crowd. It's in the 8th or 9th inning. Lawrence Butler steps out, challenge. We're all going to be like, is this a strike or a ball? Is this a strikeout or is it? I mean, it'll be huge. Mason Miller's in there throwing gas, and he throws it umpire. I mean, it's hard to. I mean, when a guy's throwing 102 miles an hour, sometimes it's hard to. I mean, think about it. You're an umpire. You're a little bit older. Your eyesight's not the same that it used to be. Guys up there, it's nighttime. Lights. He's pumping 102 miles an hour. The ball, it's 60 feet, 6 inches. So by the time Mason Miller is what, 6'5"?
If he's not, he's 6'4". He's a big dude.
I'm saying he's 6'5". I'm putting him he's a power forward on our team.
Oh, yeah, he is a part of our basketball
team. Mason Miller's
6'5", 200 pounds.
Yeah, if we start a basketball team, Mason Miller is Nick Kurtz. Nick Kurtz is on the club.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like Twin Towers, Nick Kurtz and Mason Miller.
Lawrence Butler's pretty tall.
Lawrence Butler's 6'3".
The kid we got from Kansas City in the Rule 5 draft, Noah Murdoch, he's 6'8".
He's playing center.
Although apparently I heard Johnny or someone say on the broadcast that he didn't play basketball.
Doesn't matter. He's on the club. Can't teach height.
Ken Waldachuk's pretty big.
Waldy. By the way, we didn't get to talk to him while we're down there. The second procedure, he's had the full deal, right? He's got the new elbow. He's got the bracket. He has the most modern surgery you can have for a pitcher. So hopefully Ken Waldachuk, and I did talk to him off the air, and he thinks by midsummer things are going to start going again for him, right? So, but Ken Waldachuk, I'm like, it's got to feel good, right? You're good, right? This is, once you get that, this is the most modern thing that Dr. Miser, the doctor for the Texas Rangers who invented the bracket to go along with the Tommy John surgery. So that's like going into the shop and getting a brand new engine. So hopefully that'll work out for Ken Waldachuk.
2 other guys, Grant Holman, 6'6".
Yeah, we got a bit. We
Tyler Ferguson, 6'4".
We're like the 80s Boston Celtics. We got some height. We got some serious height. And then Scott Emerson, who's going to say, how do you not bring me up, Mr. Basketball from Arizona? He'll be like our player coach.
He's our stretch five.
You know, remember Bill Russell was a player. The Hall of Famer Bill Russell was a player coach and won a championship while still playing and being the head coach of the Boston Celtics. That will be Scott Emerson.
So the only question is, I get it, point guards are bigger now, but do we go with someone like J.P. Sears as the point guard? Like, you know, usually the smaller guards are good shooters, but I don't know. The NBA is so different now where guys that are 6'4" are good shooters.
I need some guy with some speed. Can play D, right? Ideally.
You don't want him to score. You want him to play 3 and D. That's what we want in the NBA now.
You guys all want to just shoot 3-pointers. I got to play some defense. I need some speed, point guard. I need a guy who can move the ball up the floor, who can pass, has vision.
What about Henry Bolte? He's quick.
Oh, Henry Bolte, we're putting at strong safety, and he's going to come up and crush people if we're having a football team. Henry Bolte, folks, I talk a lot about Henry Bolte.
We still have to play his.
He's a man-child. He's a man-child. Like, he scored yesterday from second base. He was the one run that scored. I mean, to move the way he does, we can't say this enough. It is amazing the athleticism that is in the size and the speed that is in our organization right now. Like, it is not a bunch of small guys. We got big dudes who are strong and who are fast. Love that. Because we didn't have, I mean, you go back a few years ago, we didn't have that. We had a minor league system that everybody looked at, and we were rated always towards the bottom. Right now, you look at what is coming. Colby Thomas, I mean, he's stacked. I mean, he's an athlete who's knocking on the door. Nick Kurtz is a big 6'5". Bolte, looks like a strong safety. We've got Lawrence Butler. You know, we had J.J. Blade. We got Zach Geloff. We've got athletic players.
Denzel Clark, too.
Denzel Clark, they say, is the best athlete of them all. So that is something that not like I'd say it yesterday. I mean, you look at the Royals, you don't see that.
Just wit, really.
You see franchises that they don't have a ton of athleticism. I mean, back in the day, we were built like a beer league softball team. I mean, it's like, hey, who can hit bombs and we'll walk? Well, no, we have evolved from that, and we have some serious athletes. So that's something I want to get into today. The ABS system, technology. You might be saying, until I see it. Yeah, I get it. But once you see it, trust me, folks, you're going to dig it. It's an element of the game that is different, and it'll keep their eyes on the game. It'll keep them intrigued, and it's something like to root for, right? It's like ball or strike. You know, it's going to hopefully, you know, I have a feeling that these things will be saved for big moments. And if you're adding something to the big moment and it doesn't take a long time, I get it. If this was like one of those deals where it was going to take a long time and the umpires got to get under the hood, like the challenge system. Like when we have a manager do the hands to the ears and we're going to challenge, and all the umpires come off and they don't tell you what's going on, and it takes minutes and it's boring. That's not this. This is immediate. Umpire turns around, points to somebody up in the press box. We got to find that out, by the way. And I didn't even think about that till today. Because you just notice that he turns around and points. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to hit a button.
Who would know the answer? Should I text Emerson and ask him? He's always listening and watching. Maybe I'm sure he's around, and we can ask him who the
Scott Emerson, the pitching coach.
I mean, he would know.
I was giving Emo some love yesterday on the broadcast, rightfully so. I think people forget how long he's been here, how long he's been around, how many different pitches. I talked about the bond. There is the bond. Like when you see Chris Bassett, Frankie Montas, Cole Irvin, players that have performed well for the Athletics and come back, and to see how much Scott Emerson means to their life. You know, we think of coaching. I mean, that's what coaching's all about. It's about teaching. You know, Scott Emerson is a part of these guys' lives. He helps change their careers, which changes their lives. There's that trust. There's that bond. There's love there. I know that, and I got it written here. Torey Lovello, love, trust, commitment, and effort. The manager of the D-backs talks about it all the time. Scott Emerson has all of that. I got to get into velocity. Our guy Sandy Alcantara's back.
Oh,
the
so
ace
great.
of the Marlins.
So great to see him back.
But what's the first thing everybody reports?
He's thrown 100, 99.
First time out, you're throwing 100? Like, there was a great thread on, I'm still going to say Twitter. So we have to get into Scott Emerson. Speaking of Scott Emerson sent us a picture of an Astros pitcher. Do we remember a pitcher with the Driveline armband?
Oh, the Pulse or whatever it's called. That's what it's called. Because I
remember the pitcher's name.
I don't remember the Astros. I remember seeing Spencer Strider wearing one earlier in spring when the pitchers and catchers reported. But yeah, I remember Emo saying we can go.
Spencer Strider come back from Tommy John surgery?
Yeah, he had one on.
So it is an armband that you put on, and it's telling you, it has readings of what your arm's doing. It's counting the pitches. It's how much energy, I guess you would say, your arm is exerting as you throw. And there was a long thread from a Driveline employee. They're trying to sell this thing, obviously, and parents love to spend stuff on their kids. And then, I've heard people poo-poo it, but whatever. The thread said something that I agree with. That this is something people don't want to address when it comes to pitching. And it is just a reality. What is this reality? I'll tell you next, right here on A's Cast Live.
The time is now. Pitchers and catchers have officially reported to Arizona. Grab your sunglasses, A's gear, and get ready for some fun in the sun as the Athletics get ready for the 2025 season. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, starting on February 23rd, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Dodgers, Angels, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring. Athletics DH Brent Rooker joined Towney on A's Cast Live during his extension press conference to discuss becoming the face of the franchise.
It's been a wild ride. It's
crazy.
Yeah, it's happened quick in a sense, and it feels like for me, in a sense, it's kind of taken a long time, obviously, because it took a little bit later into my career for things like this to start to develop. But it's been crazy. It's been fun. I owe a ton to this organization, the people in it, for giving me the opportunity that I was looking for a while, and I'm grateful I was able to take advantage of it and get to this point.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/AceCast.
Single game tickets are now on sale for the 2025 season. Secure your seats today for opening week against the Chicago Cubs and lots of exciting giveaways, including an A's basketball jersey, a straw hat, and 3 bobbleheads. You'll be nodding yes to our Brent Rooker, Mason Miller, and Lawrence Butler bobbleheads in June and July. More hot ticket homestands as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Yankees, and Mets. Get your tickets at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
New A's starting pitcher Jeffrey Springs outlines the similarities between the young A's and his old team in Tampa Bay.
A lot of similarities in a lot of the ways, in the sense of like young guys, a lot of talented, young players that are establishing themselves or have, established themselves in the last year or two, and really finding, their way, their path, and kind of, making the adjustments. So it's exciting, watching, the guys throw, the guys hit, and then, like you said, competing against them the last couple of years. The talent, it's exciting, when you kind of have younger guys that are hungry and eager to play. Those can be dangerous teams. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/AceCast.
A's Cast Live continues from the studio. Here's Chris Townsend.
Want to thank everybody watching, listening on A's Cast, also on Talk 650 KSTE in Sacramento and Northern California. Welcome to A's Cast Live as we're getting you ready for a little action today at Hohokam Park. You know what the great thing about Hohokam and all the different ways that we say it? Dr. Kern, the good doctor who is our engineer, who is basically like an Arizona Valley of the Sun historian, says, you know, you can pretty much say it any way you want because they've been gone for a long, long time. No one really is there to say this is exactly how you say it. There's been multiple versions of how you say it. You hear different broadcasters pronounce it differently. The Cubs were there for years. But, yeah, he says, yeah. Can I say it this way? He goes, go right ahead. There's no one's going to step up and say, no. But Giants and A's from Mesa, Arizona coming up here in an hour and a half.
Real quick, you mentioned earlier about Verlander, and he made his debut. The video I saw or something someone put out on social media, might have saw it on Instagram or X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Verlander, the player, Matt Chapman wheeled him out in a wheelchair, and the players with less than a year of service time had to sing happy birthday to him.
Verlander is closer. I didn't realize Verlander is closer than you think to 300. I didn't realize he has gotten up to 262 wins. So there is a real chance he can get to 300. If that is his mission, right? And Kate Upton, and I believe they have 2 kids now, and if everybody's on board, as we have seen, doesn't matter if you saw someone like Tom Seaver do it with the White Sox, or you saw Randy Johnson do it with the Giants. I mean, you see these guys who stick around a long time, and you have to probably go to multiple organizations to do it. You know, Verlander, 38 wins away, that's really doable. He had Tommy John surgery, so he should be good for the next X amount of years. I mean, that is a lot, 262 wins. That is, for all the people who say wins don't matter, well, they obviously matter to this all-time great. MVP, 3-time Cy Young Award winner, Rookie of the Year, Triple Crown winner, 2-time World Series champion, 2-time ERA title winner, and an ALCS MVP. He's had a pretty decent little career, this guy, Justin Verlander.
Yeah, and he's at 3,416 strikeouts. So if he keeps pitching 38 wins, you figure he might push close to 4,000 strikeouts. And with that, the group of 4,000 strikeout pitchers, there's not many. So him joining another elite group.
Right. It's Ryan Clemens, Randy Johnson, who else?
Did Steve Carlton get there?
No clue.
I'll look it up while we get into here.
I would probably say no. It might just be those 3. Or maybe like the big train got there, Walter Johnson.
Carlton, 4,136. Don't doubt
3.
my Phillies knowledge.
So we got 4 guys.
Yeah, 4 guys.
4 guys. All right. So the text thread, if you want to read it, it's a lot about what we kind of get into as the Moneyball, everybody's into analytics thing is kind of, we've now moved on to science equations, but science where we're about the human body and how does the human body work best, right? Biomechanics, where we're doing a lot of different things with how everybody moves, movement, and how do players move the best for their body, right? And trying to figure out this mystery of why so many, not a mystery, but why so many players, pitchers are getting hurt. And we're going to hear from Hogan Harris coming up here. But I found the thread because I sent it to you and Scott Emerson. It's Thomas Bentley on Twitter. You can follow him at BentleyY_Thomas. He's a pitching analyst for Driveline. And essentially this thread in the end is about selling this pulse that guys are putting on their arm and everything that does. But he has a great part in this thread that really spoke to me, and it's a reality. And I want to talk about it right now because no matter what, when you take the baseball and you get on a mound and it's time to compete, you are accepting risk. We want to minimize risk everywhere we can because parents, they don't want little Tommy and Jimmy to get hurt, right? We want to try and minimize risk in football. We want to minimize risk in hockey. We want to minimize risk in soccer because everybody was doing headers and that led to concussions. And we want to try and minimize all this risk in sports. But the reality is you can never get rid of that. The minute you step on the mound and you say, I'm going to go try and get hitters out, you are, as an athlete, accepting risk. And he talks about it in here. Like, we can try and do everything we can with your mechanic. We can, pitch counts, but you're taking on risk. It takes one pitch for the shoulder or the elbow to go. And you as a pitcher trying to throw this baseball as hard as you can, no one's forcing you to do that. You're doing that on your own. You're accepting that risk. So as the Tommy John epidemic and all that kind of stuff, I get it. But you know what? These guys all know the score, right? If you play football, you will get hurt. That's just, if you play football, high school, college, pro, you're going to have injuries. You're accepting that risk, right? You want to go out and golf and swing as hard as you can like some of these guys do now, you're going to have back problems at some point. It's a reality. You're accepting the risk, right? You're going to play hockey. You're going to get on frozen water on skates with shoulder pads and a helmet and a stick. You're going to get hurt. Guys get hurt. You're accepting the risk. And I thought that was such, look at the two guys, Brandon McCarthy, Chris Bassett. Brandon McCarthy took it off the head, and, thank God they got him to the hospital, and he had the swelling and the I believe it bleeding, and they saved his life. If he didn't go to the hospital, it would have been really bad. And then Chris Bassett, remember in Chicago how awful that was? Yeah. You're 60 feet, 6 inches, but when you release that ball, you're less than 60 feet, 6 inches, and these guys are hitting rockets right back at your face. You're accepting that risk as an athlete when you go out to perform. And there is no way for us to protect you 100%. There's no way for us to protect you from your capsule, your rotator cuff from getting hurt. There's no way to protect your elbow. There's no way to protect. We can't put an L screen out there during the game. There's risk involved. And I thought that was an interesting way to put it. Like, we can come up with devices and we can do all this kind of stuff and we can manage pitch counts and we can do all of this. But you know what? At the end of the day, as much as we talk about injuries and trying to prevent the injuries, the athlete is taking on the risk because he's going to go out and try and perform. And when you go out and try and perform, you're going to try and do your best. And when you try and do your best, you're going to be throwing this thing as hard as you can. I want to throw it as hard as I can. And I have a ball in my hand so people watching can see. But if you're listening on 650 KSTE or A's Cast, I'm trying to spin it as much as I can. I'm splitting my fingers for a split finger. When as soon as you split your fingers, you feel it in your elbow, your ulnar nerve. I mean, it's the risk you take. So we can talk as much as we want about injuries, but the minute you as the athlete say, I want to participate in this, we got to understand, you know the deal. I mean, think about at lower level baseball, you're playing with metal bats. And the spring off the metal bat is crazy. The comebackers for pitchers, it's insane. I know. It's crazy. But that's the risk we take as athletes. You know, if you play in the NFL, you're going to get hurt. And that's just something that we talk about, the epidemic of Tommy John surgeries. Yes, we want to stop it as much as we can, but we're asking and we want, and the players want, to play at a maximum effort. And whenever the human body goes at a maximum effort, it will break down at some point. Doesn't matter who you are. Wear and tear and father time will take us all down. So you understand, it's like, I'm going to throw and do as best as I can, and I'm going to give it every single time. Because Sandy Alcantara just got off Tommy John surgery, showed up yesterday, and he's a great pitcher. When he is good, he is top 3?
We love him because he eats innings.
I mean,
And
he
he's
could
but
be.
yes.
At one point, he was 1, right? But I can't remember who the guy for the Royals was yesterday. It's his first spring training appearance. He's blowing 100. Spring training used to be, we're going to ease guys in. We're going to ease guys. Let's give them a soft landing. Man, Otanez yesterday for the A's was pumping 99. First spring training outing. Guys are throwing 100 miles an hour. Now, it's different. They come into camp in shape. They come ready to go. But that's when you talk about the risk, right? You got guys pumping 95 plus. Everybody yesterday in the game yesterday who came in for us in the Royals is throwing 95 plus. I mean, it's your first time facing hitters in a game and you're all out. Remember back in the day, you'd come to spring training, everybody, I'm just going to throw fastballs today. And I remember guys would be like, today, first outing, I'm just throwing fastball changeups. Something we can talk about with Scott Emerson. There was a lot of pitchers who wouldn't even start throwing breaking balls until their second, third appearance. They would just throw, some guys just throw fastballs. Some guys just throw fastball changeups. Because the changeup, the grip of the changeup is, we think, healthier. Because you're just changing it's just like your fastball. You're just changing the grip. You're not manipulating the ball the way you do with a breaking ball. So a lot of guys would just come fastball, changeup. That's my first outing, right? I'm just coming to face hitters, and not. If you saw these past couple days, these guys are throwing everything they got at the hitters right now. They're giving you everything they got. They're throwing 100 miles an hour, breaking off sliders. You're accepting the risk. That's just a reality. I know that's not. I'm trying to be positive this morning, but I just thought the kid for the Royals yesterday who came in, I can't remember his name. He's just blowing gas. And I'm like, this is his first outing. Bro, you got 6+ months to go. Right? This is what you're saying to these guys going, you're coming in and you're throwing it like it's the game 7 of the World Series. It's your first spring training outing. You're throwing 100. And then I wake up this morning, our guy, Sandy Alcantara. I love Sandy Alcantara. He's a man. And I'm so glad he's back with the Marlins. Because, yes, he's a guy who takes the ball and wants to finish all 9 innings. But it's crazy, right? Is it me or is that crazy?
No, I think you're right. I think the guy should ease in at spring training because you haven't been throwing. I mean, I know guys throw on the side. Like JP Sears told us he's told us multiple times he throws all year round, but he doesn't throw 100.
Well, so, I mean, no matter what you throw, there's a difference between playing catch, doing a bullpen, and now you got the adrenaline pumping, crowds there, spring training, umpire. Like I tell everybody, you can do whatever you want in the bullpen. But the minute you step on that mound and there's a hitter and then an umpire, the world changes. Like, it's just the way it is. You get juiced up, right? You can do whatever 7-on-7 drill or do whatever in football. The minute you get in a stadium that's got 65,000 people in it and it's go time and you're a quarterback and guys are coming to knock your block off, everything's changed, right? The speed of everything goes crazy. But man, you go from, hey, let's ease into spring and let's go get some guys out and work on some stuff to these guys are bringing like what you're going to see today or what you're going to hear here on A's Cast. You're going to hear, listen, they'll talk velocity. You'll be like, wow, this guy's pumping 97 first outing. It's like go. But yet, yeah, you got over 6 months to go.
It'll be interesting too because the guy pitching for the Giants today starting is Robbie Ray. And Ray's coming off injuries, and he won a Cy Young a few years ago, but he's a guy that throws hard. And I'm curious to see if he comes out with the expression of balls to the wall, and he's throwing 96, 97, trying to get everybody out when it's his first outing in spring training.
All right, tightest pants in the league: Robbie Ray or Walker Buehler? Walker Buehler now with the Boston Red Sox. They've got their problems. By the way,
I'd go Robbie Ray.
By the way, we're gonna get to Hogan Harris here, but by the way. You think money is the end all? How the Mets doing right now?
Oh, boy.
Frankie Montas on the shelf. Our guy, they're both of our guys. We love Frankie Montas. Was wonderful to us. One of our all-time favorites. We still have his bobblehead up, right?
Yeah, it's right here.
Sean Manaea. Sean Manaea, we keep his bobblehead up because it's the no-hitter bobblehead. He no-hit the Boston Red Sox years ago. Sean Manaea will be an all-time favorite for us.
He's good people.
He is good people. Love Sean Manaea. He's a great guy. I'm so happy he got that contract with the Mets, but he is on the shelf now.
Oblique strain.
So, wow.
And Madrigal, the guy they signed to be a backup infielder, hurt. But they don't want Jose Iglesias back after all the stuff he did last year.
He's not back?
No, OMG, they said that he doesn't fit the Mets.
Sign him now.
Doesn't fit. That's what they said. Doesn't fit.
We should sign him and just get him on the team. He's a Latin.
There's a lot of interesting free agents, like Anthony Rizzo's still out there.
Don't bury the lead here. This is a kid who's a Latin pop artist.
Yeah.
You're trying to bring eyeballs through your ball club. Yeah. I mean, this guy's singing, "Oh my God," and the stadium's rocking. Are you kidding me? I mean, that you want to bring interest to your ball club. This kid, you want swag? This kid, well, he's not a kid, but he brings super swag.
I would be okay with if the Athletics wanted to sign him.
Oh my God. Can you imagine Sacramento sold out and oh my God, everybody's going nuts?
Because he's going to sign somewhere. I mean, you would think, right? Because we're only into the second week of spring training games and he's still unsigned. Like the other guys like Rizzo and Verdugo, those guys are going to sign, but how do you have a Iglesias, like go to clubhouse guy and he's still unsigned? Very odd, especially when the Mets are saying he doesn't fit. You just had him last year. How does he not? Does Juan Soto not like him?
Oh, controversy in Queens.
Speculation.
Hogan Harris is a guy who's going to pitch for the A's this year. Could be get some starts. He's going to come out of the bullpen. He is he's a draft pick to the A's. I mean, the last start we saw him have, he was fantastic against the Astros. Then he didn't start again, but I got high hopes for him. And he is always great to have on the program. Here's our conversation from spring training with Hogan Harris. Pass live, and it was such an interesting year for you last year, and I know there were some really good starts. You proved you could come out of the pen.
Sure.
Coming into this spring training, how are you feeling, and what are your expectations?
Everything feels great. Had a really good offseason, worked on a couple small things, try to get a little more fluidity with the motion, I guess I should say, to make it a little bit more repeatable. Because, we had quite a few good games, luckily, but as we know, every now and then I would get a few too many walks in there from time to time. So just trying to simplify even more and go from there. But everything feels great. I went into this offseason thinking, be prepared to start. You never know what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. So ideally, I'm ready for 6 innings, and if I need to, I'll throw 1. Whatever needs for the team right now.
Well, let's think about it. I mean, you finished the year with an ERA under 3. That's a big deal in our game these days, mm-hmm. and you did it by taking on a bunch of different challenges, and you really showed late that you are a starter. I think the expectations long term is to be a starter, but I think you have to be proud of when you look back and you look at the body of work.
For sure. I mean, it was luckily I have a simple mindset of if I can figure out how to get through a team 3 times, then if I need to relieve, I should definitely be able to get through it once. You know what I mean? So then if you keep that mindset and don't go from, oh, I'm relieving now instead of starting, you just think, oh, this is great. Now I just have to do what I consider myself pretty good at, only 1 time instead of 3.
Good way to look at it.
Makes it a little bit easier.
So people don't realize starters, you're creatures of habit, right? You have when you throw between your starts, then on game day. I mean, so I remember Daniel Mingden? Daniel Mingden would come out like hours before and long time. Like everybody has their routines,
sure.
But you can't have the same routines as a starter, as a reliever, because you got to get up, be ready to rock. So talk about the difference for you dealing with the routines, and obviously you found a way to do both.
Sure. So I kind of thought of it more, since I was most likely not going to throw more than a couple innings at a time, I kind of thought of it more as almost every day just be ready to throw a bullpen, in a sense, because, I would throw in game, bullpen on day 3, and then pitch day 5 or day 6. So really, if I'm thinking of it the same way, I'm still throwing every 2 to 3 days anyways. So whenever I looked at it that way, it was like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's just, you kind of just learn how to adapt. It's pretty easy. The one cool thing about relieving at the end of last year was simply just, you don't you don't go in thinking all day, okay, this is my day. This is my day to start, which I love that feeling too.
Yeah.
You can kind of switch it off so you can go kind of back and forth. So it's more adrenaline, less thinking compared to vice versa with starting. So, it's just kind of flip-flopping depending on what I'm asked to do that day.
All right, so sometimes you are who you are. This
Sure.
is what it is. And you mentioned to me, like, no matter what, this is how hard I throw.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to throw 100 miles an hour, but you throw 92, 93, no matter what you do, it's 92, which is still very good velocity for a left-handed pitcher. And it's about where you spot it and how you go attack hitters, but you are what you are.
That's it. That's why I got the 72-mile-an-hour curveball. Make that 93 look 100. You just got to figure out how to pitch that makes your stuff play up a little bit. Whether that be, some days change up, some days curveball, sometimes that little slider slurve thing that I have. Just depends on the day, who's batting. Because you can make 92 look real hard if you do it the right way.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, hitting is timing and pitching is disrupting the timing,
100%.
right? Scott Emerson says that all the time. I wanted to be 6'4" and play quarterback in college.
That'd be great. I would love that as well.
How'd that work out?
I was the third string in my junior year, so I was like, I'm just going to play baseball.
Yeah. It just
worked out, though.
Yeah, it definitely worked out for you. Off-season big for you, your first child.
Yes, that was awesome. Decker and my wife, Miranda, way to go. We did it. It was fun, exhausting, but in a fun way. You know what I mean? Like, you get used to it, the midnight wake-ups, the 3 a.m. wake-ups. I kind of got to the point where I decided I'm just going to work out whatever time he wakes up. So if he wakes up at 3, I go to the gym at 3 a.m. If he wakes up at 6, I go at 6. Doesn't matter. So then at that point, at least, I can go home and just dad it up all day, which I liked a lot. So, I was with him from basically 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day, so it was awesome.
Yeah, the late night feedings, the late night changing of diapers,
Yes.
it becomes a routine. When was he born?
July 8th.
Okay.
So right before All-Star break last year.
So you've been dealing with this for a while, so the routine is already set for you at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's not bad. I say it's not bad. My wife had to deal with him. Miranda, good job. I had to deal with him first couple months, so that was a grind. It kind of sucks I wasn't able to be there too much for, whenever he was waking up consistently every 2-3 hours, so I felt kind of bad. But at the end of the day, I did my best to the off season give her as much a break as possible. So.
Yeah, baseball is so unique, and we'll end on this, to where the average team uses 13 starters a year. The days of us saying who are the starting 5 and who's the bullpen, it's pretty ridiculous because every team is going to use a boatload of pitchers
100%.
throughout the year. So knowing that we know that, knowing that you have the ability to be in the rotation, he truly has the ability to be in the rotation, and then what you're able to do out of the bullpen, when you attack this spring, how do you attack it? Do you want to attack it as a starter, as a reliever? Because I know this, you're going to pitch for the A's this year.
Sure.
Which role we just don't know.
So I basically attack it as, like I was saying, I just simply attack Ray to be able to throw 6, 7 innings, whatever. But if I throw 2, it's just as simple as I don't really think about like number of pitches or how many innings, things like that. I simply just have one mindset, which I think helps. 2 things. One, I watch people pop up 50 miles an hour BP, so you might as well throw 92 right down the middle and just make them earn the hit. So that helped me also limit the walks and things like that. But my one goal is just whoever's standing in the box, I just do my best to make you miserable for the next minute and a half. And then, so at that point, whether it's make you miserable for 3 outs or 21 outs, whatever.
I like it. I prepare to go through the lineup 3 times, so why not? How hard is it to do it 1 time?
Yeah, and obviously, easier said than done depending on the lineup and depending on who you're facing. But if you go in with a confident mindset like that, I feel like there's only so many bad things that can happen. So
great stuff.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll see you in Sacramento.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate it, guys.
Hogan Harris, he's going to give the Athletics some big innings this year, and don't be shocked at some point if he earns his way in the rotation. He had an ERA under 3 last year. And an ERA under 3 in baseball, that means something. By the way, my daughter, one of my twins, busted me and watching the video. She watched some of the videos, took pictures, sent to me from that day. And she just watched that. She goes, your hands are in your pockets the whole time. Why are you, don't do it. And I'm like, and now watching that and watching him have it, it was cold. If you remember that morning, like we weren't prepared for it. He was like, wow, man, this is cold. So, yeah, I was freezing that morning. Like sometimes the desert, you think like later on it's 75 and perfect, but in the morning, man, it gets cold down there. Let's pause for station identification right here on A's Cast. All right. I have some good news that I've just found out from our trip. And also, there was a major dilemma yesterday. And I want to know, should I file a complaint, harassment, even go to the police? Is there a Tempe Police Department, or are they the Arizona? What law enforcement group do I go to with my complaint? And it potentially...
They do have one. According to Google, they have one.
All right, Darell Hernaiz is coming up. But the question is, do I go to the Tempe Police Department against my fellow coworker? We have a dilemma. Wait till you hear what happened to me yesterday. Next, right here on A's Cast Live.
Single game tickets are now on sale for the 2025 season. Secure your seats today for opening week against the Chicago Cubs and lots of exciting giveaways, including an A's basketball jersey, a straw hat, and 3 bobbleheads. You'll be nodding yes to our Brent Rooker, Mason Miller, and Lawrence Butler bobbleheads in June and July. More hot ticket homestands as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Yankees, and Mets. Get your tickets at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
A's outfielder Brent Rooker joined Chris Townsend during spring training to discuss the confidence inside the A's clubhouse.
So it's a very real confidence. It's a very real optimism. It's unique in that it's a confidence that also comes with the knowledge that we haven't proven anything yet, and we know that people on the outside still don't believe in us, but we believe in ourselves and we believe in each other. And we are at a very cool crossroads of being hungry to compete, wanting to compete, and knowing that we can compete while also being confident what the future looks like. So it's a cool feeling inside the clubhouse right now. Guys are working really hard. Guys are communicating well. We're talking. We're trying to help each other get better, and that's a cool place to be.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
Looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A'sCast. That's athletics.com/A'sCast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/A'sCast today.
The time is now. Pitchers and catchers have officially reported to Arizona. Grab your sunglasses, A's gear, and get ready for some fun in the sun as the Athletics get ready for the 2025 season. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, starting on February 23rd, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Dodgers, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
A's Cast Live continues from the studio. Here's Chris Townsend.
We are 1 hour away from A's and Giants from Mesa, Arizona. Who's the pitching matchup today?
JP Sears versus tight pants Robbie Ray.
Oh, I mean, those are some tight pants, Robbie Ray.
You asked Walker Buehler or him, and I'm going with him.
I mean, those are painted on, like, especially with the Blue Jays. I could how does he get those things on? Remember that? You'd be like, bro, those are some tight pants.
Painted on.
Painted on. 2 lefties on the bump. By the way, we get sent these stat pack things. And this is the one for the Giants, right, for this game. 10 things to know about the San Francisco Giants, who finished a disappointing 80-82 last year. 4th place in the National League West. How you feeling? 4th place. All right. Number one thing, and I'll never forget, and I'll tie this to Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck's taking over the Stanford football program.
He's a general manager, right, or whatever they're calling it now.
All right, whatever.
I think that's what that position is.
And the same thing goes for Buster Posey. When people said Buster Posey's back, and I was like, wow, Buster Posey's back. Wow, I mean, Buster Posey was a great player. I mean, it's going to be in the Hall of Fame, whether you like it or not, Cody. Buster Posey's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Terrific player. If he's back, making a comeback, that's a big deal. It's like, no. Not that kind of back. All right. Well, you mean he's not going to be handling the pitching staff? He's not going to be in your lineup? No. He's going to be in a suit. And I was like, oh, that should really scare Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman. Buster Posey's in a quarter zip, sitting in the front row with Larry Bear in Lululemon pants.
Thank you. I'd say suit. What suit? What? Besides a press conference, he's not wearing a suit.
Uh-oh. Buster Posey's got Lululemon pants in the quarter zip, and he's sitting next to Larry Bear. That's going to scare the hell out of the Dodgers. Uh-oh, the Padres are going to, oh, my God, the Diamondbacks? Oh, look out, Buster Posey's back. I mean, I was like, are you serious? Oh, and everybody was like, oh, my God. Okay. Now, if Buster Posey was going to play, that means something, right? If you found eligibility for Andrew Luck to come back and play at Stanford, that would mean something. But unless you're going to dump a bunch of nil money into the Stanford football program, like everybody else is doing, welcome to modern day college football, you got no chance in the ACC. No chance. Unless Andrew Luck's going to play. Does he have eligibility left?
He might. Didn't he leave as a junior?
No, he played all 4 years, didn't he?
Oh, I thought he left early. He's still young enough he can play quarterback.
Oh, there's no question. He's got years left. Now, if you were in community college, junior college, your eligibility doesn't count anymore. You get 2 years back. How old is he?
Andrew Luck is 35.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine Andrew Luck? He'd tear up the ACC. I would vote, even at this age, hasn't played in a long time, he'd still be the best quarterback in the ACC.
Oh, without a doubt. Don't get me wrong. I'm not throwing shade on Cal. Well, Mendoza's not there anymore. And
Cal's got the new quarterback. What are you talking about? They got that kid back.
Well, yeah. I mean, they brought in a highly touted kid, but I mean, I haven't seen him play in Berkeley yet. I know you're a Cal guy now.
I will be at the games.
Pitt's quarterback's not very good. Eli Holstein. Let's see. Wake Forest, Duke. I'm sorry, Duke just lost their quarterback, but
Miami's losing their quarterback.
Yeah. Florida State.
Florida State was the biggest expensive train wreck ever. You still got Dabo down there in Clemson.
Oh, they have a good quarterback. I forget his name.
All right. So yesterday, I get to surprise Arizona. As I've said, I really liked the ballpark. It was pretty cool because I'd never been there, and everybody bagged on it. And I was like, this place is pretty cool. I understand it's way out there, but you know what? When you're in Arizona, everything is desert. And everything is a planned community. So they all look the same. There's no difference between Glendale or Surprise or Peoria or Goodyear. I mean, unless you're in Scottsdale or parts of Phoenix or Scottsdale, Tempe, they have some uniqueness to them. Once you start getting out of the main places, they all are planned communities and look the same. So stop bagging on Surprise because it's no different from anything else. So I'm there in the press box, and we're doing our show, and we're running an interview, and I get a call from the Omni Hotel, which, by the way, beautiful hotel. If you're trying to do A's spring training, really enjoy the Omni ASU Tempe hotel. It's great. I mean, it's legit. As Mickey Morabito said, it's a big league. It's a big league hotel. Teams could stay there, right? I mean, we only stay in really nice hotels. Like it's a hotel. It's got everything you need. You got the workout. You got the pool. You got the rooftop restaurant. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful facility. So Omni calls me immediately. I'm thinking I left something, right? I left something in my room. I'm pretty good. I'm not, as you know, I'm kind of a laid back guy, but there's one thing I always fear leaving something in my hotel room.
So you're Johnny.
I went Johnny. Is Johnny D showing? Is Cal Ripken showing up today?
Is he starting a new streak today?
Has anybody? Mr. 162. I was trying to think. Who? Bernie Mac. What? Mr. 3000.
Mr. 3000. Yeah.
Yeah. Johnny's Mr. One. I'm doing 162, bro. I always want to do 162. You already missed the third game of the year. I mean, how are you going to do 162? I mean, he may not be back today. I mean, that's not a good trend. I mean, I'm just saying, Mr. 162 is already struggling in spring. So do we know? Is it?
I haven't asked.
Is it Johnny? We know Ken Korach's there because the veteran rallies. The veteran makes it happen. That's the great Ken Korach, and he will be here at 11:30. So I get a call from the Omni Hotel. They gave me the wrong car. The valet gave me the wrong car. So all of a sudden, people think I've stolen a car. The authorities are after me. I'm being tracked. They're tracking me. So what happened is I was given basically the same car. Little did I know, ours was white. This was gray.
I saw the picture. I'm going to see if I can find the picture that Melissa
sent me.
But
it's the same car. So I'm in a hurry because I got to get to a place I've never been to Surprise before. You're like, we're on at 11 o'clock. So I'm like trying to get to Surprise. So a difference between a white and a gray car when you're really not thinking about it. I mean, you come out, the guy's got the car. I tip the valet guy. I get in the car. I'm gone. I have the wrong. So to be serious, she calls me up. The Omni Hotel calls me up and goes, "Oh, sorry for the mix-up." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I have somebody else's car." Luckily, I have Melissa Guzman's car, who is an A's employee. So, can you imagine if I would have had someone else's car who was not an A's employee?
Kind of awkward.
It would have been really awkward because they were paranoid that I might have taken the car back to the airport already. And what would that have been like if I pulled up? Because you know that you pulled up, they scan your thing and they go, "This isn't you." What would have I done? I mean, you want to talk about panic mode. If I would have gone to the airport and would have scanned it.
Here you go. If you're watching on A's Cast on YouTube, there you go. There's Melissa and there's the car rental return.
So she slandered me, calling me a thief. Pete Espinoza, head of our security, was coming to arrest me during the actual game as they thought I had stolen the car. And then at one point, Pete and I are, I've known Pete for a long time. I'm like, "Pete, do I need to take this car into the desert and burn it and get rid of it?" So the evidence is, I was in panic mode because I'm not ending my life in a jail in Surprise, Arizona. There's a lot of ways I may go down. That's not one of them. They're calling me a thief, Cody. A car thief.
Now, me being the way I am, I thought of your safety, but I thought, just return the car on time.
Oh, yeah. Cody now is about him. So now Cody's worried about, because Cody in the end will always worry. If you guys don't know this, Cody likes Cody. And Cody was worried not about anything else. And I told her, I told the lady, it's not a big deal. I'll come back and exchange it before I go to the airport. So everything's fine. But yeah, there was people that get, so I feel like my name was slandered yesterday as a car thief, which there's one thing I am not, is a thief. I'm a lot of other things, but I'm not a thief. And I'm not carjacking people down in Arizona.
When I heard this story, and I thought literally it's the same. I mean, the cars look alike. It's just the color's off. I mean, gray and white. But
Delaris just texted us, "Johnny is back and not happy with you."
Oh.
Bro. He'll be fine. He will be fine. Johnny D back on the broadcast today.
New streak starts today.
The new streak starts today. I like it.
We're on what? Oh, we're on for shows. We're on. This is number 5 already, and Johnny. It's okay.
I've been on planes. I would show up, right? You got to show up.
You've done as many games as Johnny on the radio.
I've done more games than Johnny's. Well, yes, exactly. I've done as many games on the broadcast. So good. Johnny D will be back. Johnny and Ken coming up here at the top of the hour. We will have A's baseball. Darell Hernaiz came over for Cole Irvin. And then if you remember back, we'll refresh you. Cole Irvin was supposed to be the opening day starter, right? A few years ago. And going into rebuild mode. So Cole Irvin got flipped to the Orioles for Darell Hernaiz, who we had no clue who Darell Hernaiz was. He was, I want to say, like the 14th or 15th, maybe 13th ranked prospect for the Orioles. But the Orioles are a stacked organization.
Fact.
Right? At that point, I mean, to be in their top 20 means something. So a highly athletic shortstop who can swing it. And, you know, the way David Force in the front office roll is they don't focus so much on winning the PR battle. They get the people they like, right? So if you said, wait a minute, you're flipping your opening day starter for a guy who's the 13th, they don't care that he was ranked 13th. They go, we like this kid, right? And ever since he's come over, we've liked him a lot. He is uber talented, had a horrific ankle injury last year, started getting hot, hurt the ankle, and it really affected his year. And I got to tell you, it's one of those, and it's so easy to say, to like, man, you just got to let it go. Because we talked to him off the air before you're going to see and listen to this interview. And that's something that he knows. Everybody in the organization knows Darell Hernaiz is super talented. He's just got to let it go. Got to play. You just sometimes you got to say what the you know what and just play. Just let it play. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let the God-given ability work here because he's got that. He's got the versatility to play short, to play third, to play second base. I mean, he's such a good athlete. You can put him out in the outfield, but he's an infielder, middle infielder, shortstop by trade. But you could see him being a big part in 2025. And somebody is going to win, hopefully. Gio Urshela, who we've played for you already, will be the first. But somebody's going to win the majority of the at-bats and time at third base. Somebody is. And Darell Hernaiz could be that guy. And also, Jacob Wilson. Jacob Wilson, you know, he's got to prove he can play every single day. And I don't even want to say it, but let's just say something happens at shortstop. Well, Darell Hernaiz has shown you that's what he does. Could he be the shortstop? I mean, Jacob Wilson to me is our shortstop, no question. I'm just throwing the options out there.
Yeah, Shoe's playing short today because Wilson played yesterday.
Yeah,
Shoe
I mean, guys, today. I mean, injuries happen. You got to have multiple play. You got to have a backup quarterback, right? I mean,
well, they only used like 60-something quarterbacks in the NFL last year, so I think you have to have multiple backup quarterbacks.
You got to have a backup left tackle. In the most important positions, you got a backup left tackle. Got to have somebody who can play, right? I mean, as we saw last year, you know, Max Schumann stepped in and had to play every single game because there was no depth. So you need the depth. But Darell Hernaiz could be all of that. He's got super talent, and here he is on A's Cast Live. Our next guest is one of our favorites, Darell Hernaiz. Got to meet him last year and really excited about what we're going to get from him this year in 2025. How was the offseason? How was life treating you?
It was good. First off season, I had a kid. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, wow.
So it was a big off season. It was a lot of change, but a lot of maturity and a lot of change, and you know, hopefully have a better year this year.
The whole world is different for you now, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're now just not playing for you. Now it's a whole different.
Exactly.
Just talk about that experience.
Oh, it's way different this year. I mean, my off season consisted of waking up, going to work out, and as soon as I get back, it's a baby. So a lot of sacrifices, but it's worth it.
A lot of changing diapers.
Oh yeah. Nobody prepares you for that.
Yeah, you never get prepared for that, and you can't wait till that moment to where they're out of diapers. It's one of the biggest moments for you. Last year, you had that tough injury, and it just set you back. Mm-hmm. So how are we feeling? How's everything physically for you heading into this season?
Yeah, it was good. I was thinking about playing winter ball, and I wanted to make sure I was 100% for spring, so I ended up not. But just to get some more IBs and get ready for this year. But yeah, I mean, a lot of restless nights just last year. I mean, it was tough to deal with, and it was my first time dealing with an injury, so it was tough. But, it added motivation for this year. So, I mean, I know the caliber of player I am, and I didn't show that last year, unfortunately. So, motivated for this year.
Well, I think a thing that plays big for you right now and for anybody is versatility is a big deal. Can you play shortstop? Can you play second base? Can you play third base? You know, as you found out last year, injuries happen to people, and everybody's got to be ready. So talk about your versatility and how that plays well for you.
Yeah, coming up to the minor leagues, I played three spots. I played mainly shortstop, but I could play all three, and the Orioles were big on that before I got traded over. So I feel comfortable at all three. I played a lot more third last year, so I got way more comfortable at third. So get to go anywhere they need me, and just trying to be with the team and produce at the level that I know I can.
That transition from short to third, a lot of people think, it's left side of the diamond. It's not that big of a deal. It is a big deal because the hops, the angle of the way the ball's coming at you, how fast it comes at you, and the hops are different from shortstop to third base.
Yes, at third base, it's a lot more reaction, and it's a lot of side spin, a lot of instinct. At shortstop, you have time to read and kind of your feet play a lot into it. At third, it's kind of reaction, like you got one step and a dive maybe. That's it. And it's a lot different for the angle, like you said, but trying to get adjusted to it, and I feel pretty good now.
When I think of this organization and how it plays for you, if you play well, you're going to play. And I think, in some organizations, it's not always that way. So I know there are big expectations. You had the injury, but now coming into the spring, you take care of your business, the rest will take care of itself.
Yes, sir. That's what I told myself all offseason. It was pretty tough. I thought last year, I was going to have a chance to establish myself. But, I mean, God had different plans, and it got hurt and started off pretty slow, too, coming off the bench and all that stuff. And then when I came back, it was kind of tough to find my footing again. So I'm excited to get a fresh start and kind of just be myself and hopefully be the person that I've always been in the minor leagues, always been semi-successful. So
you've been a little more than semi-successful. So. Well, and also what you learned last year is, like you just coming in later in games. I mean, that's the thing. Once you get to the big league level, however you can help the team, because you're so used to your life being an everyday guy playing every single inning of every single game, you've got to adjust to the new role. But now you've done that role, so it gives you a better shot at perfecting it this year.
Agree. In the minor leagues, I knew I was going to play every day. I knew if I went 0 for 4, I knew the next day I'm going to get a hit tomorrow. Like, there's no doubt about it. The big leagues was a little bit different. If I went 0 for 4, sometimes I wouldn't play the next day, and it was a little tough, just because I felt like I'm due for a hit or two today. Mm-hmm. But also coming off the bench, like it was tough, like you said. Nothing really can prepare you for it, and I know I have tip my cap to a lot of guys that have came off the bench for their whole big league career and been successful. I mean, that is tough, so I tip my cap to a lot of people, and I think I'm more prepared this year to do that as well.
Well, I know one thing I do not want to see you lose. You got swagger. Don't lose that swagger. It's who you are. You got that swagger. You got that confidence. It's why you got here, and it's why you're going to stay here. I can't wait to see it this spring.
Thank you, yeah. I try to be a little bit, not as flashy, but a little bit like Law.
Hey, stay healthy. You're going to be a big part of this organization for a long time, and we'll see you in Sacramento.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
God, he looks the part, doesn't he? He's super athletic, good-looking kid. Root for him a lot. He's got a lot of talent. You just gotta play. Get out of your own way and just play. And sense of purpose. When you have your first child, things really change. And this is one of the really good things that the A's, Ooh, we got breaking news.
Yeah, I wanted
hold
to.
on.
Wait, hold on. Wait, let me make sure. Hold on.
Hold on. Let me finish on Hernaiz here. It's a good problem that the A's have. Talent. You want guys fighting in camp. You want everybody to feel like, you know what, if I do the right things, I'm going to get my at-bats with the big club. I mean, I don't know, other than Langoliers, Butler, and Blade right now, is if anything is in stone. Well, Andujar is going to play. Oh, and Rooker, yeah.
Rooker, yeah.
Rooker, outfield DH. So outfield's kind of set. It's just a lot of infield, you know. We think we know, but, I mean, that's the good thing, is that there's talent. There's a lot of talent. And I think every one of these guys would say that. If you talk to Geloff, if you talk to Wilson, you talk to Urshela, you talk to Soderstrom, you talk to, Langoliers. Langoliers is set. But you talk to everybody, there's a lot of talent, and that's a good thing. You want internal competition. The Jim Harbaugh, iron sharpens iron, right? That's what you want. You want the competition, people pushing each other. And you want to know that whoever breaks with the club to come north to Sacramento, that whoever goes to AAA, they're hungry and ready to go when things happen. In a long season, things happen. You're going to need your players in AAA to come up and play well at the big league level. Guys are going to get hurt. It's just, it's the nature of the business. So you want to have talent. Your 40-man roster, as they say, it's not your 26 anymore. It used to be your 25, but it's not your 26. It's your 40-man roster. You're going to use all of it. You need a strong 40-man roster, and this is the strongest 40-man roster that the Athletics have had in a long time. Breaking news. Live from the ABC Sports Desk in New York, I'm Chris Townsend. What's my breaking news? We haven't done that in a while.
No, I made sure I got the open for that. I had the open for buying and selling. If we want to bring that back, I got the open for Hot Take Tuesday, which we'll get into later in the spring. But from our Athletics account on X, formerly known as Twitter, that's @Athletics. Congratulations to Joe Rudi on being selected for the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame class of 2025. So congrats to friend of the program and Athletics Hall of Famer, Joe Rudi.
A unbelievable man. Just the kindness, what a teammate, what a friend. Joe Rudi, salt of the earth. His career, a 3-time World Series champion, a 3-time Gold Glove winner, a 3-time All-Star, in the Athletics Hall of Fame, part of one of the best dynasties in baseball history. I just keep getting text.
I was like, wait, did something happen? You were in the middle of Joe Rudi, and I was like, wait, did you get breaking news that I didn't get?
No.
Well, my phone's over there anyway.
But Joe, came from Kansas with the Athletics from Kansas City to Oakland. And I got to tell you, it's been an honor to have him on the program. Just to have him on, whether it was the World Series celebrations, his Hall of Fame induction with the Athletics, and go into the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. I mean, the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame is a who's list of the greats that have played in the Bay Area. We think of 49ers and Raiders and Giants and A's and Warriors, but I mean, you've got great Olympians. I mean, it's just a list that is just absolutely unbelievable.
Well, last year, our good friend Brian Sabian went into the
base. Yeah, we had Brian Sabian.
We talked to Brian Sabian.
Brian Sabian, one of the great executives in the history of baseball. I've known Brian since my days all the way back to KMBR. a ton of respect for him. Brian Sabian, just money.
So here's the inductees real quick. Dr. Harry Edwards is going into the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame.
Has had a legendary career. He's a San Jose State Spartan.
Mike Montgomery, legendary Cal, Stanford, and Warrior coach.
Well, it's Stanford. I mean, what he did at Stanford, they were perennially in the Final Four, and what they did in the he'd be Pac-10.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
Pac-10 into the Pac-12, yeah.
Alex Morgan, obviously a great soccer player. On the U.S. women's national team.
No doubt.
Joe Rudi and Eric Wright. So
Eric Wright was a Super Bowl champion, was a great player.
So
it's a big deal. Like when you go through the list of all these people in the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame, and I know, I know being on Sacramento, we just talked about Johnny going into the Sacramento Baseball Hall of Fame there. But to all of our fans, Talk 650 KSTE, some of you may not know, but the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame I've been to it. I actually voiced some of the things before. I mean, it's a major deal every single year. I got to do the year that Kenny Stabler went in. I mean, the names that are in there, you're talking about people who are baseball Hall of Famers, NFL Hall of Famers, basketball Hall of Fame. I mean, like I said, you got Olympians, you have all these great, this is the greats of the greats. So for Joe Rudi to get in, that is a big, big, big deal. So can't wait to talk to him about it. We got to get him on the show.
Going to try to get him tomorrow. I'm going to reach out later today, see if he's available tomorrow. I mean, this is a big deal for Joe Rudi. He's been on this program many times.
Well, and we got to get him while he's not golfing, because he golfs every day in Florida. He lives the good life. I mean, Joe Rudi, that group, that core, you think about it, Raleigh Fingers, Reggie Jackson, Sal Bando, Joe Rudi, these guys, they were a band of brothers, man. And they came from Kansas City. Rick Monday was originally a part of that. These guys came from Kansas City. Catfish Hunter, right? I mean, unbelievable. Coming up next, Ken Korach. Speaking of Hall of Fame, the Hall of Fame voice of the A's. Next, right here on A's Cast Live.
A's starting pitcher Luis Severino joined Townie on A's Cast Live in Mesa and discussed his role as a veteran leader in the clubhouse.
For me, just learning from the guys that like when I was younger, Cesar Sabatia, Ivan Nova, Michael Pineda, Flavor Aero. So those guys teach me how it was, how it is to be in the big leagues. So I would try to do the same thing with those guys, if they need me. When my first year, I was trying to impress everybody, so right now it's just, trying to get ready for the season. So if I need to talk to those guys and let them know, you don't have to be 100% every time. You don't have to go 100% every time, When we need you to go 100% out there and pitch, that's the day you want to compete. So don't go out there and go crazy and try to get hurt and taking ground balls or trying to catch a fly ball that you don't need to. So just to, let them know what I learned while I was younger.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/AceCast.
The time is now. Pitchers and catchers have officially reported to Arizona. Grab your sunglasses, A's gear, and get ready for some fun in the sun as the Athletics get ready for the 2025 season. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, starting on February 23rd, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Dodgers, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring. A's All-Star Mason Miller joined Townie on A's Cast Live to talk about the responsibility getting the final 3 outs in a game.
Exciting. The time of game, everything that's went into it is building to that point. And usually when I'm in there, it's an opportunity for us to win.
Yeah.
So just pitching with that energy, pitching with that mentality that I just got to get 3 outs. It doesn't have to be pretty. I want it to be pretty, but it doesn't have to be. It's just just get 3 outs, hold the lead, get the guys in the locker room and celebrate a win. So I love it, and I feel like I just embrace it. take the role for what it is.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/acecast.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic.
Streaming from the studio, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Well, now joining us on A's Cast Live before the Athletics and the Giants coming your way. Also on Talk 650 KSTE in Sacramento. It is the Hall of Fame voice of your Athletics, the great Ginn Korach in Mesa, Arizona. Ginn, how are you?
Hey, Tony, how's it going, man?
It is going great. Always good when the Giants come over, and our buddy Bob Melvin. Should be a good game today there in Mesa.
Yeah, it's nice when the A's play the Giants. I would have preferred maybe a couple of more regulars for the Giants in their lineup today, but still they have guys that we've heard of, and it's beautiful. It's going to be 88 degrees out here today, I think, Tony. And as you know, because you just left here, this is not the real world here. This is not. This does not resemble the real world when it's 80 degrees every day. The restaurants are packed. Nobody's lost a game that mattered. Everybody's in a good mood. So, yeah, we're having a good time down here.
It's like it's hard to explain to people just how great spring training is. It's like everybody's in shorts, you're in T-shirts, everything's fine. I mean, you watch the news, everybody's freezing around the country. When I got off the plane last night in the Bay Area, I was like, my God, it's cold. I mean, you're right. It's hard to believe at this time of the year in Arizona, it's just perfect.
It is. And I've always said this too, that because of that, it's a little bit of a transition when, like, especially if you're a team like the Reds or the Guardians who train here and have to go back there to open their season. Like the Giants are opening their season in Cincinnati on March 27th. It's not going to be Phoenix in Cincinnati on March 27th. So that's an adjustment, I think, that the players have to make.
Are you a little surprised the low-scoring games that the Athletics have played early?
Well, you know what they say, Tony, in the spring, that the pitchers are ahead of the hitters when spring training begins. So you could throw that cliche out there. But you're right. Normally, we're used to seeing 10-9 or 14-10 out here in the Cactus League. The wind hasn't been blowing. So that, I think, is a big reason why the scores are maybe lower than we're used to seeing out here.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Playing golf with the great Steve Vucinic, another A's Hall of Famer. It's like the weather has just been ideal for anything. It's been really, really special. Johnny D there. Good to see Johnny D back with you.
Yeah, there's Johnny. He pops into the picture.
Hi, Johnny. Yeah, so good to see Johnny D.
Hi, buddy.
Kim, we got our new affiliate in in Sacramento, our flagship Talk 650 KSTE. I know radio means so much to you. It's been your career, and to have a station that we know that we're going to be on for 3 years in Sacramento, it's a big deal.
We have great coverage this year, and obviously A's Cast, the job that you do along with the commander. And so this is great wall-to-wall baseball programming. If you're a baseball fan, I think we deliver a lot of programming for you. And we're still on 960 in the Bay Area, too. iHeart Sports 960. So, yeah, you're right, Tony. I think the coverage is going to be great.
And coming soon, we're going to announce, I think I'm okay to say this, we'll get an affiliate down in Las Vegas, which will be great for all of our fans because obviously we'll be moving to Las Vegas, obviously a place that means a lot to you. I mean, some people, I always talk about you being the voice of San Jose State. Some people may forget that you were a longtime voice of the UNLV running Rebels.
I was. We had some good years, some not so good, not so great years, but it was a lot of fun doing that. And I began in terms of broadcasting in AAA, Tony, as you know, I was here in Phoenix in '86 and '87, but then went to Vegas to do games there in the Coast League in '89. So our ties to that community run pretty deep for sure.
You know, we were talking about pitchers and we're talking about protecting pitchers, and then all of a sudden we look. You remember back in the day, pitchers would show up. They want to just kind of work on throwing strikes, getting ready. I mean, now what we're seeing right out of the gate, we're seeing guys coming out, giving you everything they got, throwing 100 miles an hour. I mean, it's just different how pitching is these days.
It's very interesting you mentioned that, Tony, because you called the game for us yesterday with Chris Carey, and you saw Gunnar Hoagland. He was the last pitcher to work for the A's. First round pick of the Blue Jays. Had Tommy John surgery before he was drafted, and then came over to the A's in the Matt Chapman deal. He threw the fastest pitch he's ever thrown in the A's organization yesterday when he hit 97 miles an hour. So that just kind of goes to what you're saying. And guys are ready when they come here. It makes me a little bit nervous, though, Tony.
I agree.
We were watching batting practice the other day, and Mason Miller looked like it was July. He was that good. They couldn't touch him. And he was hitting, 97. He might have hit 100. And that was on the 19th of February, I think. And I was thinking, just bubble wrap him. Don't pitch him in a game until opening day, right? We've seen enough. That one batting practice was all we needed to see, right?
It's February 19th. We got 7 months to go, and these guys are airing it out already.
Well, that's the way the game has changed, right, Tony? And he is really good. And I think when you have a guy like Miller at the back end of your rotation, it permeates through the entire ball club, Tony, in terms of confidence. Because there's nothing worse for a team, and especially a young team that's trying to build, if you get to the ninth inning with the lead and you lose the lead. And so having an elite closer, I think the presence that he has, and even like a psychological advantage he gives the club, to know you have a lockdown guy like that at the end of the game is just huge.
You know, Ken, we were addressing this early, and I wanted to throw it to you. You know, it wasn't that long ago that everybody rated our system so low, they didn't see a whole lot of talent in our system. And now you look in the minor league system, you look at the players that have come up, you look at the players that are coming. We've got big, strong, athletic guys. Just everything you've been around at Fitch, you've been around at Hogan, you've seen it. Just talk about what you've seen, the growth in the farm system, and all these terrific young athletes that are all throughout our system at all levels.
Well, you need to have guys that impact the game. Ken Maka always used to talk about that. That to be a winning ball club at the big league level, you have to have guys who can impact the game. And I think you were talking about someone like Colby Thomas, who I had a chance to meet today around the batting cage for the first time, who can really impact the game. And Denzel Clark, you hope that he has that impact as well. So, yeah, you know, and I think the game is, you've got to have guys that are athletic, who can impact the game and with more than just one tool. You'd like to have 3 or 4 or 5 tools. And I think the A's are building back toward that, Tony.
Well, a thing that we've all experienced here, and I really want to, really explain this to the people who are listening right now, Talk 650 KSTE, to know what they're getting. Of course, all of our longtime fans on A's Cast and who have watched and listened to this program for a long time. The change in the culture of the organization. What we have seen this offseason, it started with Luis Severino, then it was Brent Rooker. A really big deal, though. You brought up Ken Maka. There's always been this, love-hate relationship, I guess, with the manager and the front office at times in this organization. The fact that the ownership, the front office, gave a long-term deal, the longest deal we have for a manager in baseball, to Mark Kotsay. All of these signings this offseason, what have they meant to you?
Well, I think with Mark, he's the right guy to lead the club into the future. And it's a real validation, I think, for him. And not just on the field, but off. A lot has been thrown at Kotsay. As you'll remember, Tony, his first year managing the A's, we were here in Mesa when the lockout finally ended. And all of a sudden, you've got to ramp up, and the season's going to start quickly. The A's trade a lot, several of their best players, and he had to deal with all of that as soon as he was beginning his major league career as a manager. And I think on through last year, and with all the emotion, as you know, because you were part of it, Tony, at the Coliseum, and the way he was able to express that to the A's fans after the last game, but also keep his focus, his eye on the field, and keep the respect that he has in the clubhouse, Tony. So he's very well-rounded in the things that you want in a manager, because there's so much more than just managing the game nowadays when you look at someone who's leading your ball club.
Yeah, I mean, you travel all these years with the team. You see the relationships that are built here between the coaching staff and the players. And we just think of these guys going out there in between the lines and playing, but there's more to human beings have issues. There's things that go on, and the manager has to deal with all these different things. And the fact that our game tried to devalue leadership, the guy that sits at the front of the plane, the guy that sits in front of the bus, the guy who has the office where all the players got to come in and talk to. I mean, the manager is a big deal. The fact that we devalued that in our game, it's just silly.
That was a shame. And the other thing, to have continuity, you look around sports, not just baseball, Townie, how many times coaches are getting fired and they're coming and going, and they just have had continuity with their coaching staff. And I think if you're trying to build a young ball club, you don't want new people coming in every year, because then the messages change. So that consistency, I think, is really big. And the other thing, just as on the topic of leadership, Townie, the signing of Brent Rooker to a long-term deal was very big from that standpoint, too. Now, we know what he's done on the field. Should have been an all-star last year, should have been 2 in a row. But he has tremendous respect in the clubhouse. And I think when you reward that, not only for what he's done on the field, but off the field with a long-term deal, I think that permeates throughout the clubhouse as well.
All right, the ABS system, what we have seen so far, the fans love it, and it goes really fast. It's not something that takes a long time, like when we see challenges in baseball or football. I mean, this is the ABS. It's less than 10 seconds. So far, what are you seeing, and how do you feel about it?
I like it so far. And yeah. I think because of what you said, because it's fast.
Yeah.
But one of the things that's really bothered me about replay has been the delays in the game. And when you have 4 or 5 or 6 replays in one game and they last forever, it's a disruption. I don't like that. I think it hurts the flow of the game. But this system, I think, has been really good so far. I don't want to see computerized strike zone all the time. I still want to see umpires, but I think the challenge system is good for the game. And I think the other thing you're going to see, Townie, you're going to see challenges on check swings, because the way they have that Hawkeye system set up, they can really see, because it's so subjective. How many times have you second-guessed an umpire at check swing? And it's a really subjective call. It's like a charge or block in basketball sometimes. So I think next year you're going to see the check swing as part of the ABS system as well.
Yeah, it's bringing a different element, and the fans love it. And as someone like yourself, who just not baseball, you've called so many football games. I mean, in football, when they throw the challenge flag, and then they got to tell you what they're looking at, then they go. I mean, it's like, oh my God, we might even go to a commercial break, and we come back. Is it a fumble? Is it not a fumble? This is just so fast. I mean, yeah, in yesterday's game, Ken, late in the game, like it happened so fast. We didn't really realize it was going on. There's a challenge. That's how fast it is.
And the fans seem to like it. The fans get into it, right? Because we were, even in the Cactus League ballparks, they show the graphics, the animation up on the scoreboards, and you can see the strike zone and see where the ball finished. And if it goes for your team, now you're hearing the fans cheer and react to it. So I think anything we can do to engage our fans. Like I was told that the crew chief or the plate umpire will have a little more latitude in terms of explaining things to the fans. And that's something that we've been calling for years now, Townie. Fans shouldn't be in the dark when there's a discussion on the field over a rule issue or something like that. Get the fans involved.
Yeah, because that's what they do in the NFL. They basically tell you Denver is challenging the fumble on the field. I mean, at least we know it's.
I have to defer to the great John Miller. Hi, John. Say
The
hello to
Hall
Chris.
of Famer, John Miller. John, how are you?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, there he is.
How
my
are
guy
you?
right here, man.
All right.
Yeah. Hi, John.
Nice to see you.
How are you? Have a great broadcast.
All right.
today.
Is he giving you some hard questions?
He is.
Yeah.
This is like Meet the Press.
And your guy
Yeah.
Kurtz he's kind of like Kurtz is to the Athletics what Eldridge is to the Giants. What do you think?
That's a good comp right there, John.
What do you think, Townie?
Well, I just want to tell you this, John. When you went into the Baseball Hall of Fame, Ken Korach wanted to come on this show to talk about you because he talked about what you did for him in his career. So I know there's a lot of respect in that booth right now.
Well, he's the best. Are you kidding? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the other thing about Nick Kurtz, there's a little Matt Olson there. Big left-handed
Oh,
hitter.
okay.
Takes a lot of walks. He had more walks than strikeouts in college. So kind of seeing a little Matt Olson there, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's a little early yet, but the author of this new biography of Earl Wheatley, best baseball book I ever read.
Wow.
It's coming out in about a week, called The Last Manager. Great. Don't miss it. You can thank me later.
You spent all those years with Earl with the Orioles, right?
Earl, not so really.
Okay. Who was your first manager with the Orioles?
Well,
when you did that
Joe
game?
Altobelli.
Oh, Joe Altobelli.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Giants.
And then he won the World Series his
Right.
first year.
Right.
The story was that Earl had been campaigning for Cal Ripken Sr., his third base coach, to be the new manager.
Right.
But they hired Joe Altobelli up from, he would have been in AAA.
Yeah.
Rochester at the time. So now they had the big off-season banquet. It's called the Thompson Sports Banquet. There's like 3,000 people in the basketball arena at Towson University.
Right.
And they had a big head table and about a 10, 12-foot drop from the back of the risers. And when Earl got introduced, big ovation for Earl, everybody stand, and Joe moves his seat back to let Earl pass by because Joe's sitting right next to him. And he falls off the back of the risers onto the cement floor. And everybody's like, oh my God. They all go look at him. He's, they worry that he might be dead. And Earl's got a cocktail in his hand. He walks over, he looks down, he says, wow, I'll be damned. Looks like Rip's going to get this job after all.
Were you emceeing the affair, or were you involved in some way?
I was not involved in it, but
Okay, well.
I would have been a little bit horrified, I think. So
Yes, I
my
think so.
biggest thing at that banquet was they won the World Series. I was the MC the next year, and this is, I guess, the difference. As to what's a big deal, for people like us. We had one of the starting pitchers, maybe Mike Boddicker, got a big award, and so I had arranged it where Boddicker can't finish his speech. He's like, excuse me. And so we get the manager, Altobelli comes over, and he looks down the table, chaps his left arm, and Chippy Martinez, the closer for the Orioles, he gets up. So I announce, coming in to finish the speech, Chippy Martinez. And Chippy says, he just wanted to say, thanks for this honor. Very happy to be here.
That was it.
A save for Chippy Martinez. He had 28 saves this year and another one tonight.
Well, you might have saved our show today, John. Hey, have a great broadcast.
Sorry, Tony.
No, are you kidding me? I rather listen to this than the game. Just keep going.
In the words of the late great Gary Hughes, be brilliant today.
I miss him.
Oh God, we miss him. We were having lunch over here. We thought he'd be sitting there right with us.
Yeah.
We miss him, right,
What a
Townie?
guy.
Yeah.
We miss him every single.
Well, have fun in Sacramento.
Thanks, buddy.
And
we'll see you there.
I might miss that series. I get days off now. So I was looking at the schedule.
July 4th weekend.
Sacramento. Oh, I'm busy. Yeah. So.
Hey.
Sorry.
Hey. July 4th. Come on, man. You got to do a game on
literally.
July 4th.
I'm going to be in Nome, Alaska.
Good for
that series. So.
All right, guys, we got to roll. We got to throw it to your guys' broadcast. John, have a break.
You're busy. You got a schedule. You got to stay on schedule, for God's sake.
The Hall of Famer is great to see you. 2 Hall of Famers right there. That's a lot of Hall of Fame right there, Ken Korach.
He's the best. He is.
You have a great call today.
Thanks, buddy. Talk to you later.
Oh, how good was that? Wow.
I didn't have John Miller coming on this program.
That was not on the bingo card. Ford C. Frick Award winner, one of the legendary voices, because John Miller, for 20-ish years, was the voice of baseball. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. He did the World Series. He's John freaking Miller.
Yeah, we haven't talked to John since
John Miller just rolled in with Ken Korach. We just got to like, how good was that?
I think the last time we had Korach on in Arizona last spring, Marty Laurie just walked in, and it was Marty and Ken doing something like that.
Yes, Hall of Famer.
Now getting John Miller on, who we haven't talked to in this program since probably 2019. It was great to see him and great to hear, because you're right. Me growing up, John Miller was the voice of baseball on Sunday Night Baseball with Joe Morgan. So it was, anytime I can hear John Miller talk about anything, obviously baseball, but anything, it's great to hear from John Miller. So that was really awesome.
That was super cool. John Miller. Special. I mean, that's what you just got right there, listening on A's Cast 650 in Sacramento. You just got that spring training right there, right? That's not the regular season. To have that, it's not going to happen during the regular season. That's the kind of cool stuff you get in spring training, right? If you go to games, like in an inning that John Miller's not doing, like he'll get up, walk outside the press box, and you can run into anybody in spring training. I remember one time just running into Furry. I was over at Sloan, not Cal Poly Slow, but Sloan Park in Mesa where the Cubs play. I was just walking down the concourse. I ran into Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins. I mean, you can run into anybody. That's the beauty of spring training. That was really special. I hope you guys really enjoyed that, because obviously Ken Korach is a Bay Area Radio Hall of Famer. So is John. John is a Ford C. Frick Award winner. Ken has been up for the Ford C. Frick. The Ford C. Frick is how broadcasters get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. And that's broadcasting talent. That's broadcasting legends right there. That was unplanned. Super, super cool.
Hopefully we'll get to talk to John at some point during the year. Maybe when the Athletics play in San Francisco, we can try to grab John.
Well, and what you heard right there is what happens, later in these broadcast careers. You were so used to every game turning on and listening to a certain broadcaster. Well, you start taking time off, right? And, we want to have the voices just like we saw with Vince Scully or Dick Enberg, or, you see where all of a sudden I'm only doing home games in West Coast, and then I'm only doing home games. I mean, at one point, Vince Scully would only do home games and he'd come to San Francisco. That was it, right? Because you want as much Vince Scully long-term as you can get. You don't want to send Vince Scully to Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, and no offense, Cody, and then all these other places.
Cincinnati, I totally understand.
I'm not sending Vince Scully to Miami and Tampa. All right, he's staying on and that's what the legendary voices. At some point they've earned that right to not do 100 and X amount of games. 50-something games. It's a grind. I mean, I've been doing about 150-something games for many years. I mean, at some point, I'll have to start thinking about that, right? You don't do as many games. You want to prolong the career and do it for as long as you can, but, there's other things in life. You have kids, and their kids are grown, and then you have grandkids, and you have that kind of thing. So you got to sometimes you got to realize you got to do things other than show up to the ballpark every single day and take a little time, and you need to rest. It's one thing I always said with Ray Fosse. I wanted Ray Fosse to open up a new building. And I was like, Fosse, you don't have to do every game. Take some time. But that's not who Ray Fosse was. Ray Fosse wanted to do every single game. But it's like, Take some time off. Go beat the grandkids a little bit. Take some time off. So John Miller, and we know he's scaled back, and man, he's earned that right. He's baseball royalty. John Miller has emceed some of the biggest events. He just emceed the Willie Mays event that they had in San Francisco. You think of all the Cal Ripken stuff. You think during his broadcast, it was President Clinton that came on ESPN with them, but then he'd go down on the field before all of that. And we were all, I mean, you want to talk about an event that brought people back to baseball from the labor stoppage and the strike, or I would say the lockout. I mean, it was Cal Ripken Jr. in the streak, and John Miller was the guy always out on the field emceeing everything. And then the broadcast with the great Joe Morgan. And, I mean, you had the President of the United States show up. I mean, all of America was celebrating a guy who shows up to work every day. He shows up. It's excellence every single day. And that brought people back to baseball. And then, of course, the home run chase, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire. But the thing is, John Miller was a part of all of that. And you just always, you think of all the big things he emceed at Camden Yards and now at what we call Oracle Park. What a career. And John Miller once a broadcaster for the A's.
Yeah. And
way back when.
I thought it was interesting on the way out that he brought up, he says, is Nick Kurtz to the A's what Bryce Eldridge is to the Giants. And this Eldridge kid, I saw him play in San Jose a few times for the San Jose Giants. He's going to be a dude for them. Hopefully they don't rush him through the system where Kurtz is a college kid and he could be here by the end of this year, by the middle of the year. I think Eldridge could be the same guy with the Giants, probably by the end of this year, if not early next year. So
coming up next, A's baseball. It's the A's and the Giants on A's Cast and Talk 650 KSTE. Enjoy the ball game. We'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. right here for A's Cast Live.
A's starting pitcher Luis Severino joined Townie on A's Cast Live in Mesa and discussed his role as a veteran leader in the clubhouse.
For me, just learning for the guys that like when I was younger, Cesar Sabathia, Ivan Nova, Michael Pineda, I played with Aaron. So those guys teach me how it was, how it is to be in the big leagues. So I would try to do the same thing with those guys, if they need me. When my first year, I was trying to impress everybody, so right now it's just, trying to get ready for the season. So if I need to talk to those guys and let them know, you don't have to be 100% every time. You don't have to go 100% every time, When we need you to go 100% out there and pitch, that's the day you want to compete. So don't go out there and go crazy and try to get hurt and taking ground balls or trying to catch a fly ball that you don't need to. So just to, let them know what I learned while I was younger.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/AceCast.
This has been a presentation of The Athletics.